Yo! What up, nation? Welcome to a beautiful Monday afternoon, 12:07 p.m. here on the East Coast. Wherever you are tuning in today, thank you for being here. It's another week. We've got some breaking news as well coming to us right before we went live. I don't know what, 10, 15 minutes ago. Breaking news, Tyreek Hill has been released by the Miami Dolphins. And there's absolutely no shock there whatsoever, because by releasing Tyreek Hill, they are saving millions. And I think like 30 million was the last number I saw. First and foremost, just to ask everybody, does the picture look all right? Is the sound okay? Is the sound okay? I'm just wondering. I just want to make sure.
How does my voice sound now? How's my voice sound now?
How about now?
Does it sound better?
Everything should have sounded really good. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then it probably sounded way off for a second. Maybe, I don't know. I've got the setup is brand new. Not new, but redone. The stream goes through a different computer now. I've got it hooked up to a Go XLR, which allows me to do some different things too. So, oh man. I've spent like a week trying to get my setup right. So the chipmunk voices, Gilbert Godfrey voice, I could download some different things. I could. I think there's a bleep button. I don't know if it works still. This shit out. I don't have everything set up yet. We'll get there. Oh, man. Okay, so the Tyreek Hill released saves the Miami Dolphins about $30 million, which they're going to need because they're going to need to make some changes really everywhere. The question becomes, what does Miami do at the wide receiver position? They have Jalen Waddle right now, but outside of Jalen Waddle, you have Devon Achane, and you have to decide what you're going to do. It just, Miami feels like a mess. Miami went from being like the next team, right? Like they hire Mike McDaniels. It seems like a very weird hire at the time. Not for everybody, but for some people, it feels like a weird hire. They don't really understand why McDaniels and what he brings to the table. And then McDaniels comes into Miami and puts together a couple of winning seasons. They make the playoffs. This looks like a team that could end up making a jump to being in the conversation for Super Bowl contenders, or at least putting themselves in a position to compete for the AFC East year in and year out. They look like the next contender to the Buffalo Bills. And then it all went downhill really, really fast. Really fast. And I don't know if I completely understand why. I really don't. I want to look up a couple stats here real quick. I don't think it was Mike McDaniel's fault entirely. But you have to wonder if, hold on. You have to wonder, is it the fact that they not only tied themselves to Tua, but they tied themselves to Tua for a decent amount of money for a decent amount of time? So McDaniel's first season in Miami, they go 9-8, finish second in the division. They make the wild card, lose in the wild card round. Year 2 in 2023, they go 11-6. They score 496 points. They have a point differential of 105. The offense is humming. They end up losing in the wild card round. If you remember correctly, that was that frigid game. They had to go on the road to face the Kansas City Chiefs. No easy task for anybody. No easy task for anybody, especially a warm weather team to have to go to frigid temperatures of Kansas City. And then in 2024, the team kind of took a step back, especially offensively, because they went from scoring 496 points all the way to 345 points. Just an absolute drop off. Tua played in 11 games that season. They had to run with Tyler Huntley in 5 games, and they had to run with Skylar Thompson in a game as well. Clearly, that made things difficult. It made things difficult on Tyreek Hill. Jonnu Smith has a big season. Devon Achane has kind of his breakout, stays healthy. Jalen Waddle, But they take a big step back. Unfortunately. And then this year, offensively was kind of on board with what they saw the year prior. But defensively, they go from allowing 364 points last season to allowing 424 points. So their defense took a big, big step back this year. And when you look at what the team has done, Tua this season, 20 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Threw for 1,814 yards in 10 games. Last season in 13 games, threw for 2,653 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. In 2022, Miami's best year with Mike McDaniels at the helm, Tua took care of the interception. So Mike McDaniels' first season in the league, or first year as head coach in 2023, Tua was coming back from that huge concussion that he had. His first year there, throws for 4,624 yards, 29 touchdowns, but throws 14 interceptions. Now, he threw the ball 560 times, and I believe that Mike McDaniels and everybody around him said, hey, Tua can do this, but we want to be a more balanced offense, and they were back in 2022 with Raheem Mostert. Oh, no, I am reading this backwards. I went to a different page, and it went early to old, and then it went from early to current, then it switched and went from current. So in 2023, still McDaniels, it would have been his second year in the league. So I was saying some of this backwards. He throws for 4,624 yards, 14 interceptions, 29 touchdowns. That was McDaniels' best season. Comeback player of the year, finished 5th. The year prior was when he had that concussion, obviously. The year prior, his first year, 25-8. But then as seasons went on, the next 2 years, Tua only throws for 2,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And this past season, 2,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. The growth was not there. The growth was not there with Tua. It was wildly inconsistent performances over and over and over. And that's where now I find myself conflicted on the job that Miami is trying to move forward and do, because they've set themselves back. Tua's contract is big. Tua's contract right now. So they could potentially get out from underneath his contract right now, but they're going to have a dead cap hit of $34 million. His contract in the years 2029 and 2030 have already been voided. So he becomes a restricted free agent in 2029 no matter what. The contract at that point has already been voided. The cap hit this coming season, if they retain him, will be $53 million. If they keep him in 2028, the cap hit is going to be $65 million. So at this point, Miami has a decision to make, because if you're going to stick with Tua, you're going to have to stick with him for the next 2 years, and you're going to have 16% of your cap and 19% of your cap going towards Tua over the next couple of years. 53 million, 65 million. Or you get out from underneath the deal, you have 34 million go towards his contract this season. 34 million, and then you're done with him. I would say that they need to get out from underneath the deal. I would say that Miami needs to commit to the rebuild this year. You've already done that by releasing Tyreek Hill and saving yourself $30 million. Now you need to do it by releasing Tua and being done with him. It's going to cost you $34 million, but it's going to be way better than the 50 and the 60 that is going to go towards your cap over the next 2 years. And it gives Hafley an opportunity to restart this team, start your rebuild right now, and then go from there. For me, the question becomes, what is the answer at the quarterback position? Is it releasing Tua and going with Quinn Ewers? Is it releasing Tua and drafting somebody in a very weak draft class that we'll talk about in a few minutes when we talk about the combine? They released Chubb as well. Or is it going through free agency and trying to bring in a guy like Malik Willis? Because when you take a look at the talent, let's talk about that. Because after Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Malik Washington, Taj Washington, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. At the tight end position, Darren Waller's headed to free agency. Greg Dulcich, I believe he is a free agent as well. At the quarterback position, you have Quinn Ewers. Zach Wilson is going to be a free agent. You spent a first round pick on Kenneth Grant last year as your defensive tackle. Chop Robinson was a first round pick the year before that at defensive end. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't think Miami is in any position to look at 2026 and say to yourself, we're going to compete. Are you going to compete with the Dolphins? Are you going to compete with the Buffalo Bills? No. Are you going to compete with the defending AFC champion New England Patriots? Probably not. So that's where, and that's where teams get themselves into a bind, is where I don't think they really make decisions. Teams go all in on winning. And when they have an opportunity to win, they go all in on winning. And it feels like that's what Miami did the last couple of years. But then they kind of said, no, we're going to reset with a new head coach. We spent too much money on Tua, and now it's a new head coach's responsibility to try and figure it out. And if that's the case with anytime you hire a new head coach, in my opinion, I believe you have to give that coach time to reset the franchise, similar to what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes did in Detroit. Like, it looked like off the bat that Dan Campbell may end up being a terrible head coach based on how the first 1.5 seasons went in Detroit. But then they got to it, right? They got to it. Now they're winning more consistently. They're a playoff team potentially. Miami, I think, is going to have to do the same thing, and you're going to have to eat the Tua contract for a year. And I think the decision for Miami, personally, in my opinion, because the quarterback is not going to be in the draft for them, they're going to have to go with a free agent. And I believe the free agent should not be Malik Willis, but it should be a quarterback that you feel can bridge you 1 year to the 2027 draft class. That's what I would be focusing on. Let's start setting ourselves up for success. Let's save ourselves money now. In free agency, let's go ahead and try to make a few deals for some veterans to come in to at least give us an opportunity to be competitive. But who said it a minute ago? Sean Smallwood like a Mac Jones? Probably not. Probably not a Mac Jones. Probably not an Aaron Rodgers. For me, when you look at, and I have to remind myself, I have a free agent video coming out here soon. Next week it will be. So when we go to the quarterback position, Daniel Jones is a no for me because he's coming off that injury. Aaron Rodgers is a no for me because he's Aaron Rodgers. He's way too old. You would have like an opportunity for potentially a Russell Wilson. You could look at a Marcus Mariota. Zach Wilson, you could end up bringing him back. You could talk to a Joe Flacco. Carson Wentz. You could give Carson Wentz an opportunity. Malik Willis is going to cost too much money. Malik Willis is going to cost too much money. The quarterback that you need to get this year is a quarterback that is going to do just enough for you next season. I don't think Kirk Cousins leaves Atlanta. I think Kirk Cousins sticks in Atlanta. I do. Get a quarterback that can do just enough this season to keep Jalen Waddle healthy, to keep Jalen Waddle good, to keep Devon Achane good, and go from there. I would say personally a Marcus Mariota. I would say personally a... Now here's the thing too, Jeff Hastley coming from Green Bay has a connection to Malik Willis, but there's going to be other teams vying for Malik Willis based on what he did. And this is where teams potentially set themselves back even more. And that's why I'm saying that I don't believe Miami needs to invest in Malik Willis. I think Miami needs to invest in a quarterback that's not going to cost a ton of money. Because if you go with Malik Willis, now you're going to have to sign him to potentially the top quarterback free agent contract on the market. That's not going to be a whole lot. And I know we've seen some decent thing from Malik Willis in his time with Green Bay, and I think he could be solid. I'm not going for it. Because what if Malik Willis doesn't work out? And now you find yourself in a situation where you have to get out from underneath another quarterback contract. Bring yourself in a guy for 1 year that can help keep some of the guys around you, Achane, Waddle, competitive. Bring in another wide receiver, which I'll talk about in my video coming out on Wednesday. You have a defensive-minded head coach. Focus on that part of your team because your defense was the worst part of your team last year. Get better on defense. And then look to not completely revamp, but look to strengthen the offense heading into 2027. That feels like what you should do. Absolutely. It's an approach that I believe the Bears are following right now. Fatal is absolutely correct. We've got 52 concurrent viewers right now, which I believe is our highest concurrent viewers for a Headliners Unfiltered live stream yet. So thank you to everybody who is here right now. Appreciate it. So I think it's something very similar to what the Chicago Bears are doing. You hired an offensive-minded head coach. What did you do in year one? You focused on the offense. Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, developing Caleb Williams. You took your offensive-minded head coach and allowed him to strengthen the area in which he is best at. You do those things, and then you have some success in year one like Chicago did. I don't think Miami would have nearly as much success. So you have some success in year one, but you focus on the defense for Miami. And then in year two, you do what Chicago is going to do. Chicago in year two this year through the draft is going to focus on defense. In free agency, they're going to focus on defense. And then for Miami this year, they focus on defense. Next year is where they focus on the offense. And you get yourself a quarterback through the draft because next year's draft class for quarterback does look like, as of right now, being much stronger than what it currently is for this year. Tom, greeting from Vienna in Austria. going on, man? Welcome. Welcome from across the pond. Glad to have you here. Oh, man. Whew. We talked about a lot with the Dolphins there. And I see there's a ton of good thoughts in the chat. You know, Oliver talks about Kyler Murray if the cards stick with Brissett. Kyler Murray is a guy that I think if he's released, as long as he's not looking for a long-term commitment, you could go with Kyler Murray if you want to. You could go with Kyler Murray if you want to. Wrong salute, brother. I did this. Every time I salute anybody in the chat, I do it the same way, like that. I did not do anything there that should have been taken out of context. So if we're trying to make something in the chat right now that isn't, then you are more than welcome to go ahead and turn the stream off and head on out. There is enough negativity in this world right now that I do not need people in the chat trying to tell me that I'm disrespectful because of how I saluted somebody. And do the same thing for everybody else when they come in. Okay. We're going to go ahead and ban that individual from the stream. I don't know who it is. So I don't know who it is, but coming into the chat and telling them that no. Yeah, not the place for that. We're going to get that out of there. And that's going to throw me off my game a little bit because that's not okay. Anna, yeah, but Anna works during the day, so she's not able to be in the live streams. But she's around. She's around. Ooh, STG sent a donation. Is it gonna pop up? I don't think it's gonna pop up because I have to. I've been redoing everything, and I don't think the notifications are popping up correct right now. I think if you become a member or you do your milestone chat, I do think that will show up, but I don't think the super chats are showing up on the screen right now. I'm still trying to work that out correctly. STG, though, with Canada 5, says, thoughts on Max Crosby. If he gets traded, where is your number one destination? It's Detroit. I'm being honest. Like, if Max Crosby gets traded, the number one destination has to be the Detroit Lions. He went to school at Eastern Michigan University. He has ties to the state of Michigan. He's been vocal in the past about how he was hoping that the Lions would have drafted him when he came out. Detroit needs help on the defensive line. Him and Aiden Hutchinson on opposite ends of the defensive line would be absolutely insane. I mean, that would be my number one spot for Max Crosby. He could win right away, be a part of an organization that shares the same values that he does. I don't know if they're going to trade Max Crosby. And actually, a short came out a little bit ago here on the channel with some Max Crosby thoughts. I don't know if they trade him. I think if you're trying to get things going in Las Vegas and you want to reset this team, then I think, okay, so, yep, TC, that notification showed up. Awesome. I think you need to trade him. I think him and Las Vegas needs a reset. TC becoming a member for the 35th month wants to know my thoughts on the Pickens rumors. What are the Pickens rumors? Is it about him potentially being Is it about him potentially being franchise tagged? Or is there a different rumor for Pickens that I'm just maybe have missed? Well, then nice to have Crosby on the Lions, but don't think it's worth giving up what's required for him. If you believe that your team is going to be competitive for the next 4 years, 3 years, if you think you are in your 3 to 5 year window right now and you're kind of right in the middle of it, then giving up 2 first round picks for Max Crosby is not a big deal for me. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Because it's going to cost you a couple of first round picks, maybe a player, and maybe another pick or two. And honestly, at this point, you need to do something to win now. You're not in a position to just keep saying, oh, at some point you got to make a move, just like Green Bay did with Micah Parsons. At some point you have to be all in. What's good, Lee? TC, no. What's the rumor? Get me up to date. Could Dallas tag him? I'm going to be talking about that in my video on Wednesday. About whether or not I think he gets tagged. I don't know if Max Crosby is going anywhere. I don't. I'm not going to sit here and say that he is, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not. He made it clear before the Kubiak hiring that he wanted to be out of Las Vegas. I don't think he necessarily wants to, but he was not. I don't think he's happy with ownership. Sean, becoming a member for the 41st month. How do you think Kansas City moves forward with Rice and the outside troubles? Can we rely on him next season? Yeah, that's tough. Are you moving forward with him? I think you're moving forward with him, but I think you're also kind of waiting for the legal process to kind of shape itself as well with another off-field incident with him. TC, about trading to Las Vegas. So they would have to tag him and trade him. Swag, need a link to the Taylor family. Mike, did you happen to see the news? Did you happen to see the news, Mike? If you didn't, I would see if anything's been posted recently. You guys read into these media flies too much. I don't think so. I think you have to find a balance. You have to find a balance of taking the information that's being put out there and trying to find where the actual smoke is. Because where there's smoke, there is typically a fire. Yeah, Mike, you'll want to check out Headliner Gaming. As soon as you leave here, go look. Something was posted yesterday. Anyway, it's difficult because I either read into the media too much and I'm wrong and people get on me for that, or I don't read into the media enough and then I'm wrong and then people get on me for saying, "Oh, it was right there in front of your face and you didn't." So I don't think that I read into the media too much, but to just completely discredit every single report that comes out, I would not be doing my job either at that point. I think Pickens stays in Dallas. If anything, yes, I believe it's going to be on the franchise tag. I don't think he's going to be traded. I don't think they're going to let him walk. I think they are going to try and get a deal done with him. That's my thoughts on it. we have spent a majority of our time talking, but like I want to move on to another topic real quick, and I want to talk about I want to talk about the Browns. I want to talk about the Browns because Todd Monken made a comment the other day, and I gotta find it real quick. Right, hold on, let me find it. Oh, where is it? Okay, here it is. So Todd Monken, who is the new head coach in Cleveland, there's a video of Shadur Sanders a couple of weeks ago walking into Monken's office to see him. And essentially Monken says to him, "Hey, we tried to draft you in Baltimore." So to me, it looks like Todd Monken is on board with Shadur Sanders as his starting quarterback. Will this be the same old Browns? Will this be the same old Browns moving forward? Do we think that Shadur Sanders has what it takes to be a successful starting quarterback in the NFL? I think Monken is tying himself to Shadur Sanders, and if he's going to do that, the Browns are going to have to give Sanders weapons. I think David Njoku is on the way out the door. I think you have Harold Fannin, which is solid. But is Jerry Jeudy going to be the guy? He was very inconsistent at times this season. Is Cedric Tillman going to be a solid number 2? I think he can be a field stretcher, but I don't know if he's going to be a guy that Sanders is going to consistently hook up with. Your offensive line still needs a little bit of work. So the Browns right now are in a position where they're going to be going with a younger quarterback, it looks like. You still are paying a ton of money to Deshaun Watson. And if he's supposed to be healthy to start the season, are they going to get rid of Deshaun Watson? Are they going to keep him? If they keep him, do they give him a shot? Does he even deserve a shot at this point? And that's an entirely different conversation. Quick question. Is Tom still in the chat? Is my man Tom from Austria still in the chat? Hill to the Browns? Oh boy. Well, I mean, Hill's coming back from a just terrible knee injury. So I don't even know when he's going to be healthy. If he's going to have the same playmaking ability. He is getting older now too. Okay, Tom. I wanted to make sure that you were still here after that incident from a couple of minutes ago. I wanted to make sure that we were still on the same page and that you were not offended. or anything like that, even though we had an individual trying to make something what I believed was nothing. So I just wanted to make sure that you were still here and everything was good. So I appreciate you still being here. Thank you. The Browns need defensively, I think the Browns need a few tweaks. Offense is where things become an issue because Monken is super excited for Shadur Sanders and believes that Sanders could end up being his guy, but you still have Deshaun Watson. Oh, by the way, you drafted Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shadur Sanders, so now you're dealing with that as well. Do you have the weapons around him? Do you have Quinshon Judkins? He had a nasty injury in 2025 as well. When is he going to be healthy and ready to go? And I will talk about free agency a little bit more in my video on Wednesday. I have my top 25 free agents for fantasy football, where I think they're going to land, or not where I think they're going to land, but what I think is a best case scenario for them. And then kind of my thoughts on those best case scenarios. And Cleveland getting a wide receiver is at the top of my wish list for them. Because I don't know, I'm not entirely sure that I believe in Shadur Sanders. I think he could be a viable NFL quarterback, but I think you're way closer to a Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that. SB brings up a great point. I don't know if free agents are going to want to go there. You might have to go through the draft. That is a very solid point as well. Absolutely. I don't know if I think Shadur Sanders is going to be way closer to a Kirk Cousins, way closer to a Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy that is going to have some success at the NFL level and at times is going to look solid, but at other times is going to look like he is just in over his head. And he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to try and do things that he shouldn't be doing at the quarterback position. That's how I believe it's going to end up working out. That's how I believe it's going to end up working out for Shadur Sanders. He's going to have some good moments. He's going to have some tough moments. At the end of the day, he's going to have playmakers around him. I don't think that he's going to be the type of quarterback that's going to elevate players to being way better than what they are. And you have some quarterbacks that are like that they elevate the players around them because of how good they are. I don't believe Shadur Sanders is that guy. I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to be good at times. I think Cleveland can be competitive at times with him. I don't think, Ron, you've been around for a while. I respect the opinion. Shadur Sanders, to me, is nothing like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is way more dynamic with playmaking ability on his feet. He has a much better arm. I don't think Shadur Sanders is anything like Lamar Jackson. Unfortunately, I would have to disagree strongly with you there. DJ Moore to the Browns. I do think Chicago needs to trade DJ Moore, but it's all going to depend on what they are asking. But DJ Moore to the Browns, to me, I don't hate that at all. Not at all. As long as they are willing to utilize him correctly, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think that's a solid assessment. Who would I say Shadur Sanders is the closest to right now? If I had to give you a Shadur Sanders comp, by the way, the United States women hockey team right now is beating in the semifinal, beating also 4-0 Sweden 5-0. So go women. Person he is closest to. Let me think about this for just a second. He's not a dynamic playmaker like Josh Allen or like a Caleb Williams or a Jalen Hurts. I'm not willing to go that far. I think as a passer, you're going to see some of the same inconsistencies that you see from a Justin Fields or a Kyler Murray, but he's not nearly as dynamic on the ground. I think, if anything, you're going to see him be closer to a guy that started his career also in Cleveland. I think he's closer to a early Baker Mayfield. Trolling. Andrew Luck. I think he's closer. Greg, I don't hate Bryce Young either. I don't, Greg. I don't think that is an awful comparison. To me, he's an earlier Baker Mayfield, a guy that's going to make some plays with his legs, a guy that has that kind of swag and that kind of it factor that you that at times you want. But he's going to be a guy that is going to be an inconsistent passer at times. He's going to maybe try to do a little too much, especially when he feels good, right? Like, you go out there, and last season with Shadur, they really tried to put him in a position where he could be successful in the short passing game. And you saw that with what like a Dylan Sampson did in the passing game. What Harold Fannin did in the passing game. They really tried to set him up for success short and intermediate. But when you have a ton of success short and intermediate, and then all of a sudden you feel really good about the way you're playing, and then you try to force a ball down the field that you probably shouldn't, that's going to be what Shadur Sanders is going to do. I don't think Shadur Sanders is very good down the field. I don't think that he has the same arm down the field that Baker Mayfield showcased at times. I think he's going to have some inconsistencies with the accuracy, but he's going to make some plays with his legs. He's going to have a little bit of swag, a little bit of an it factor. He's going to look good at times, and then at other times he's going to make a play, and you're going to say, what in the world is he doing right now? And that's where I'm at with Shadur Sanders. That's where I'm at. Good thoughts in the chat, though. Good thoughts. Aaron, I feel Shadur is capable of playing better than we have gotten to see. Cleveland is just cursed. I mean, you could definitely argue that Cleveland is cursed, and I wouldn't argue too much with you on that, I think. I think, man, I don't know. I'm not willing to say that Cleveland is just cursed. I do think Cleveland has gotten in their own way in recent years. Does Jim Schwartz weasel his way out of Cleveland? With all the head coaching spots filled at this point, I would be willing to bet no. I think Schwartz remains in Cleveland. I think if he was still a head coaching candidate for somebody, maybe you would see him go at this point, but I think he stays in Cleveland. I do. Cleveland's ownership getting in the way, absolutely. Absolutely. When is free agency starting? Let me verify that for you. So NFL free agency for 2026 officially starts on March 11th. but there is that legal tampering period where you can technically have conversations with free agents, but you can't sign them to a contract. So there'll be a lot of news in the days before that where it's like so-and-so is going to be heading, it's going to be reported that contracts are being negotiated, things like that. So we've got a little bit less than a month before free agency. We'll have the combine first, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I might be at. I might be at the combine this year. We haven't applied for NFL credentials recently. And sometimes when you do that, you fall kind of, once you get in, like if you keep requesting them and you keep going, it's easier to keep getting them. But because we took some time off from going to those events after the draft, I'm not entirely sure that we'll get approved again. So we will see if we'll see if we get approved for that. And if we do, then yeah, I will be at the combine. Maybe not every single day, but I'll get down there for a couple of days at least, especially the big day on Saturday. Headliner Nation, there was going to be another topic about the combine, but I think I'm going to save that. We've been live for 55 minutes. We've had a great audience today. Thank you so much to everybody that showed up today. 52 concurrent viewers at one point in time. Awesome. Fatal, if you were starting a franchise today and had to choose one current NFL player to build around for the next 5 years, who are you taking and why? One offense and one defense. Defensively, I'm going with a pass rusher, an edge rusher, whether it be Micah Parsons, even though he's coming off of his injury, whether it be a Myles Garrett, whether it be an Aiden Hutchinson. Myles Garrett probably at the top of the list right now. I would say he would be one for me. Number 2 would be Hutchinson. Parsons would be 3. TJ Watt would be up there as well. So I would say I would go with an edge rusher, and it would probably be from that group. Offensively, it has to be a quarterback because you see it all the time. Teams have a terrible time being successful if they're not good at the quarterback position. Josh Allen is probably up there. Patrick Mahomes is probably up there. It's one of those guys. If you're wanting to be, and it depends on what type of offense you're going to be running, I would say Patrick Mahomes probably would be at the top for me right now, while Josh Allen would be right behind him. I don't know if I start a franchise with Lamar Jackson just with how he's been banged up over the last year or so, so maybe I stay away from him. I know that Patrick Mahomes obviously has the knee injury he's coming back from, but other than that, he hasn't missed games. So those would be like the guys that you would be looking at first and foremost. Those would be the guys that you would be looking at if you're starting a franchise. Headliner Nation, that's going to do it for me today. Kyle needs to give a time extension based on how the conversation is going. I get that, and I love that y'all are loving being here in the live streams. For me, I just want to make sure that we have more to talk about the next time we go live. And I believe it's going to be on Thursday again this week, and we'll see how things go, because I mentioned it in last Thursday's stream. Our numbers on Monday are fantastic right now. Is Blue at the combine too? I hope not. I hope not, because that dude creeps me out. He will. I'm sure he will be. I would say our numbers on Monday are fantastic right now, but our numbers on Thursday are not great. I think last Thursday we had less than 20 concurrent viewers, and today we were up to 52. So if it comes down to the point where Mondays works best, then we will absolutely try to maybe adjust a few things here or there. If we just go live once a week right now on Mondays, unless that's a little bit more busy, then we'll go live once a week on Mondays, and maybe I'll stay live a little bit longer and we'll cover more topics. Let's answer some dynasty questions. Pete, give me a dynasty question. What's your dynasty question? Before I go, Peter, I'll answer one for you. What do you got for me? What do we want to talk about? Yeah, if you do a Monday stream only, extend the time again. Absolutely. Yeah, if I'm only going to be live once a week, I'll be live longer. I'll be live longer. We'll see how Thursday goes this week, though. Nobody wants to work on Monday. Aaron, that's not the worst thought I have ever heard. That makes sense. That makes sense. And people seem to be good coming in. At 1.2, who am I taking in Dynasty? Well, number 1 and number 2 are going to be a mix of Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamar Chase. Those are the 3 that for any Dynasty team, those are the 3 that I'm taking a look at. If this is a super flex league and it is Dynasty and you're at 1.2, you could make an argument for Josh Allen up there as well. Oh, the rookie draft. Oh, okay, the rookie draft. I don't know yet. I don't know. Jeremiah Love is going to be right up there. Where is my... Hold on. I posted this for members. Let me find my big board real quick. I posted it in Discord for members only. I have to find it though. It doesn't show all of it. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to go into Canva here real quick and I'll tell you. I'll just go right to the source. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but so as far as if it's a super flex league, Fernando Mendoza, if he doesn't go number 1 overall, Fernando Mendoza at number 2 in a super flex league makes a ton of sense. After that, Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, if he lands in a solid situation, he's going to be one of the first 2 players picked. As far as wide receivers go, you're going to be looking at Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon. All of those guys are going to be up there if they were to land in like a really good position. Denzel Boston out of Washington, his name is going to be thrown around a little bit as well. The other one that it's going to be a little too high, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon, is a consensus top 20 prospect and is even top 10 for some people. Peter, if it's a tight end premium with 2 quarterbacks, then Sadiq is going to be in play at number 2 overall, depending on where he lands. My wife took my credit card and my membership went with it. Sorry. It's okay. It's understandable. I appreciate it, Peter. No worries whatsoever. Landing spot is going to be... landing spot is always the biggest thing. And a lot of that is going to depend. I would say the guy that you could lock in at number 1 in that type of a league right now is probably Fernando Mendoza. So your next best bet right now is going to probably be Jeremiah Love. The Super Bowl Easter eggs, I think it's a coincidence, Aaron. I do. I think it's a coincidence. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody hanging out, being a part of the stream, interacting, talking. Appreciate it. I've got a couple of videos this week. One video is going to be about, and actually this is good. This is good. On Wednesday, we're going to have a video coming out that's going to be about top free agents and where they can land for fantasy football. And then also my top rookies to watch for fantasy football. So, Peter, more information will be coming your way very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Thursday, same exact time. I'll be right here ready to talk sports with y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will catch y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners. Appreciate everybody.